And what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Historic Hot Laps. 2025 delivered one of the tightest title races in recent memory. 3 drivers, 1 final race, margins measured in single digits. We're going to unpack it all. And we got a special guest on this one with Mr. Joe Zigmont's back joining us. How are you, Joe?
I'm doing well, sir. How are you doing?
Fantastic. Thanks for joining us again. Our traditional season recap as it's becoming now.
Absolutely. Got to keep it rolling.
Absolutely. So let's start out with the headline of who became champion, how and why it matters, right? So the end of the 2025 season, going into Abu Dhabi, we had the top 3 in the Drivers' Championship with Norris, Verstappen, and Piastri. Norris, as everyone should know by now, clinched the title at the season finale in the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix with a 3rd place finish behind Verstappen, who actually was the race winner there, but missed it by a narrow margin, and then Piastri bringing up 3rd. But the 3rd place finish in that race was enough to give him the championship and end a multi-year reign from Verstappen. So obviously, you probably watched that race, I imagine.
Yeah, I was a little late to it, but I did watch it.
The overseas races are a little difficult sometimes, but yeah, I had to watch the replay after the fact, and I'd kind of already got the spoiler alerts thanks to the lovely social medias we're all attached to nowadays.
Right. Thanks, Instagram.
Appreciate it. But with Norris, he becomes the first McLaren champion since 2008, only the 35th driver overall to ever win the title. So 35th champion in the sport and the first in a number of years for McLaren, ends the 4-year championship streak of Verstappen, signaling quite the change in the order. You know, we had McLaren looking strong as a team for the constructors last year, missed out on that championship window, and this year they doubled down and take both, right? Take drivers' championship and the constructors title.
Yeah, just pure domination there. And then to go with that constructors, this was actually the first time since 1991 that it was back-to-back constructors wins.
That is a good stat. I didn't actually know that. That's crazy. Yeah, I had no idea. That's a good signal for them. I wish their IndyCar program would be a little stronger, but they're getting there with that.
Hey, just get old Zach Brown on it.
He's there quite a bit, actually. Obviously, Formula One takes precedence, but yeah, he's involved. And then he's got one of my all-time favorite retired drivers, Tony Kanaan. He's running that IndyCar program as the team principal now. He basically came on as a consultant a couple years back and a relief driver for the Indy 500 if needed, and then went into this like kind of, talent pool type position. And then just randomly they're like, oh yeah, you're in charge of the whole team now. So
nice,
it's pretty wild.
Segue into it.
Yeah. So we'll see. They're getting better and better every year. They got some stuff coming this next year. But as far as Formula One stuff goes, obviously we know how it all shaped out, and we know that Verstappen made a hell of a run in the second half of the season. From your perspective, was Norris the clear deserved champion, or did it more luck play on his side?
I think he was the well-deserving. Any 3 of those guys, actually. When you look at the stats,
right,
they all, Piastri and Norris had 7 race wins. Verstappen had 8. The only difference was on their podium finishes, where Lando was ahead of them. He had 18, Max had 15, and Oscar had 14. So any of those guys were more than deserving of the place. All insanely talented individuals.
Yeah, they are.
The championship is just, yes, individual races will decide it, but it's over 24. The consistency is key. And obviously he was just that much more consistent than the other 2.
Right. Yeah, and that'll touch on something a little later here in the notes. But I agree. And honestly, going into the very start of the year, I almost thought we might see a Piastri, young gun type of thing come out. And he's close, obviously, getting 3rd place. I mean, the margins were tight as could be. Do you feel like, and I ask you this because you follow race to race a little more heavily than I do, because I'm trying to track so many different things. And IndyCar and NASCAR are my 2 passions at the moment, the North America series, obviously. But do you think from going race to race over the season, could Verstappen or Piastri, have they done anything differently? Obviously, Verstappen did what he could towards the end, maybe a little better in the beginning of the season. But is there anything you could see that would have changed the outcome for any of them besides the obvious and like getting more podiums, but performance wise, anything like that?
I forget which race it was for Verstappen when he got overtook and was super aggressive towards Russell and they collided and that set him back. Like, it's just little things like that. Like in the heat of the moment, maybe control your temper a little more. I know there was, sorry, I can't remember which Grand Prix it all happened, but when Piastri went off in like lap one, putting his car into the wall, like if he didn't do that, could he have gotten a handful more points? Absolutely.
Yeah. Just, it seems, I mean, us talking about it's one thing, right? Bench racing, but those guys are under so much pressure. Yet it seems that just that's what really made this whole championship and this season change was just the tiny little things. Like it came down to such a tight margin, which is awesome to see in Formula One. Cause I mean, generally it's locked up pretty early, right? Verstappen the last 4 years has been on a tear and usually has it solved with a couple races to go or whatever the case may be. So it's awesome seeing that final race drama and the storyline's great. But yeah, those guys, I mean, that's such a fine margin. I don't know that there could have been a whole lot more done by any of them, to be honest.
I think, again, like the bench seat driving, not so much on the drivers on this one, but on McLaren as a team. When, what was it? It wasn't Vegas. It was either before or right after where they had a yellow flag and everybody pitted except for McLaren. And that strategy completely ruined it for them.
Right.
I think if they wouldn't have done that, they would have clinched it the race before Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that. Yeah, they were off strategy on that one. Well, that's kind of a good segue to talk about the team of McLaren and their resurgence in the Constructors' title and everything like that. So not only did McLaren win the driver's title, but they also clinched the Constructors' Championship. It's a sign that they're really back among the elite for Formula One. You talked about it being the first double title since, the early 90s, you said, or 92 or something like that?
91 for McLaren.
91.
It was actually also, this is the 10th Constructors for them, so they bypassed Williams for holding that second place in all-time Constructors.
Oh, right. That's so wild, man. I mean, I wonder if Bruce McLaren ever saw that this was going to be, so far down the road. I guess, who knows, back in those days, Williams looked like they were going to win everything. And then the tides shift a lot, right?
Yeah.
With McLaren back in the spotlight, Red Bull and Verstappen are still dangerous. Obviously 2025 kind of shook up the usual narrative. So it raises questions of, is this a one-off? Are we looking at a new McLaren era? Back-to-back Constructors' Championship obviously seems like they're back, right? They're back for business. And then obviously the Drivers' Championship now too. Do you think McLaren can sustain this momentum, or what do you think their biggest challenges are? Obviously, we've got a lot of changes coming into next year, but what do you think for the team as a whole we should expect?
I think they're still going to be dangerous. Obviously, the engineers and their whole department over there has the Mercedes engines figured out. Their biggest challenge is just going to be the same as everybody else with this new set of regulations and no DRS.
Yeah, that's going to be super interesting. And I'd like to go, I don't have the time to nerd out on it super hard. I would like to go back and see how much DRS affected certain finishing spots. I don't think it's huge, but I honestly think, if you're talking like the guys in the points, now back marker teams, maybe it affects them a little more, but I don't feel like DRS gave a further advantage to one team over another on the top cars, right? Like the McLarens, Verstappen's, Red Bull, some of the Mercedes stuff. And we saw Russell in stuff like that. I don't know. I feel like this new system, which is going to be a lot more towards the IndyCar side of things, will be a lot, depending on how they actually monitor it and rule it. It could be pretty insane to watch. I haven't seen anything if they were going to allow the extra horsepower advantage on lap ones or not. IndyCar doesn't usually let you do it on lap one, so I don't know if Formula One is or not, but we all know lap ones are the most hectic laps in the race usually for all Grand Prix. Some of them, that's the only time you see anything, right? So yeah, bringing that up, that's going to be a lot of changes for him. But if anybody's got the money to stay on top of the technology side of it, it's McLaren's.
Yeah, absolutely.
Before we get back into it, real quick, we just want to take a minute and say thank you. Another season of Historic Hot Laps is in the books, and none of it happens without the support behind the show. Thank you to the few guests we had this season who took the time to share stories and knowledge of the sport. These conversations are the reason we do this, and we're looking to grow into that next season even further, so stay tuned for that. Thank you also to our supporters for backing history-driven racing podcasts and believing that the history matters. Most of all, thanks to you, the listeners. Whether you've been with us since episode 1 or just found the show this season, we do truly appreciate you tuning in, sharing the episodes, and keeping the passion for racing history alive. We've got more coming, but for now, thank you for another great year with Historic Hot Laps. Now let's get back to the show. So let's talk about a couple key things, defining moments, or if you will, of 2025. I had a couple listed here. 2025 Mexico Grand Prix / the Brazilian Grand Prix, the South America run. Norris took the lead in the standings.
Mm-hmm.
Norris capitalized mid-season to swing championship momentum. That was a pretty good indicator, I think, during that run, that really before Verstappen got on the heater that he was on, we all thought that we were going to see the championship get locked up early. At least I did. I don't know. What was your feeling when they were doing that South America run?
Yeah, I mean, and Mexico, Norris comes out of nowhere with a 30-second win.
Yeah.
And then just backs it up in Brazil with a 10-second win. So they were looking strong all season. So from the outside looking in, you pretty much thought, at least in my perspective, that they had that win cemented.
Yeah, it was looking really good. And then we go to Vegas.
Yep, and that nightmare.
Let's talk about. And then McLaren gets a double disqualification for both drivers, which was just all ride height based, but it was definitely a low that tested McLaren's resilience for the title. Honestly, all things considered, a double disqualification and then the bounce back they made was pretty impressive as a team, because going from averaging, all the points to getting 0 points for the whole weekend for both cars is pretty wild. But it just shows that they were kind of on top of it because they still had room to come back versus it didn't destroy their whole season, right?
Right. It just made it a little more bottlenecked and close right at the end.
Yeah, definitely helped us on the story of the season. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Then let's see. You had Qatar or Qatar, depending on how you're actually supposed to pronounce it. I've heard it multiple ways. Verstappen wins that one, keeps the title hopes alive, showed the fight wasn't over for him, and sets up for quite the weekend in Abu Dhabi. I mean, I honestly, seeing that result, I bet on that one too. Just like, I was like, he's on a run. He's going to get it, right? And I bet on that one, and it went my way, which was awesome. And then I immediately followed up by, there's one race left. Verstappen can get it. Like, I was pretty sure he was going to get it. Granted, I know Norris, points-wise, we were a little unsure, but I put money on Verstappen last second to take the title because the odds were pretty good for payouts, right? They weren't horrible. Like, he was obviously one of the favorites, but that didn't pan out for me. But I thought for sure Verstappen had it after he locked up Abu Dhabi, and obviously he showed into Qatar, but then going into Abu Dhabi, he obviously wins the race and gets it done, but needed a couple more points.
Yeah, well, that's even if
wild.
Like with Leclerc for a while there in Abu Dhabi, it looked like he was going to put up a fight with Norris. He just couldn't edge that gap in that last half of the race.
Yeah, absolutely. So then the thing after that, I mean, I guess we can mention real quick, is Singapore. McLaren locks up the constructors title. That's got to be great for team performance and momentum, right?
Absolutely. And like going into Singapore, they had 12 podiums that included both their drivers in the top three. That's insane.
Yeah. They're 2026 is getting exciting. I got to say it. The more we talk about it, like it's going to be interesting to see what happens. And knowing Zach Brown, he's going to throw all the money he can at it and keep this momentum going, which is great. It's good for the sport. It's good for everything, right? Like, it's just good all around.
Well, and you tie that into like Cadillac coming in, especially for the American market. They're going to capitalize, hopefully, where Haas fell through. And like I said, with the American market, really good American sponsors, get the populace of the nation behind them.
Yeah, I'm going to vent real quick on the Haas thing. Like, Haas is the American team, right? But they've never been an American team. Like, they're not based in they're based in the UK. Gene Haas, yeah, he's American, but that's it. Like, they don't even have any American drivers, you know? Like, it's just, It's wild that they put this flag on of, yeah, American team and this and that, and they don't have any kind of actual, you know, American backing or anything like that. Having Cadillac be stateside. I mean, they have an office in the UK, obviously. You have to be based in the area, but their main development headquarters with GM is North Carolina. You know, their Formula One shops, I think they're tying in with all the other, man, this is a terrible time to get a blank. But anyway, all the other stuff that ties into IndyCar as well, because you got a lot of shared ownership with the TWG group, right? Is that right? TWG? Yeah.
More than I would.
Yeah. The Gainbridge guys that sponsor everybody and everything, they have all their stuff set up in Indianapolis. So there's a lot of good crossover there, but they're like more of a truly American team. And now, granted, I know they don't have an American driver. They put Colton Herta in the Formula 2 rankings as a test driver, and then Formula 2, you know, seasons and stuff. So they do have American backing there. But yeah, I think that's gonna be so big for the momentum of Formula 1 in North America.
Yes.
Which it's already ridiculous, you know, like looking at the ratings every week for IndyCar, I'm like, can we break 1 million viewers like at all ever besides the Indy 500? Can any of the regular races break 1 million views? And they never can. Formula One plays at 2 a.m. on like a Saturday, you know, and they're like, oh yeah, 16 million people looked at it. It's like, the hell?
They just need a Netflix show.
And that's it. Yeah. And then NASCAR did the same thing, right? And it helped out too. And they're still pulling 1 million people on the USA Network on a Sunday afternoon during football season. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Right.
But we'll see. But anyway, back to what we were talking about, pivotal moments in 2025. What race do you think was like the real pivot in how this was going to end up? What made it critical? Think it was that Mexico Grand Prix momentum, or what do you think?
Yeah, probably the momentum for the McLaren to bag the win. But what made it the story that it was definitely that Vegas disqualification.
Yeah, for sure.
And then that would allow Verstappen to just try and make up that 104-point deficit, which he was on a heater since the Dutch Grand Prix. Between the Dutch and finishing in Abu Dhabi, he had 10 podiums and 6 race wins.
Right. Yeah. Honestly, when you look at it, so I'm sidebarring to IndyCar again. I apologize for those who don't want to listen to that. But when you look at the season the IndyCar had, right, you had Alex Palou win like almost all the races. And everybody was like, it can't be stopped. And he obviously was the champion early and everything else. But you had 3 like real contenders in Formula One this year, which I can't think of a year in recent history, at least with this generation of car, where that was ever a thing. You know, you had the Hamilton run, then you had the Verstappen run, and everything was kind of sealed up, you know, with a few races to go. So I feel like Formula One's on the path to something good as far as, you know, race quality goes.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
All right, we beat up the McLaren thing a little bit. We talked about all that a lot. I kind of want to spotlight a couple others. The spotlight was obviously on Norris, Verstappen, and Piastri. It wasn't like the rest of the field sat still, though. You saw some movement over at Mercedes with Russell. They proved that they can't be ignored every weekend. There are drivers quietly building momentum. 2022 could bring some fresh challengers as well. Which non-headline driver or teams impressed you this season, and who might be like our dark horse going into 2026?
I got to preach him up because my boy Sainz is over with Williams. They had a tremendous jump, and I don't know if that is what Sainz saw when he originally signed with the movement that James Vowles has been making. But both Sainz and Albon, they had strong seasons, at least for the mid team.
You got a podium, right?
He had 2.
2 podiums, yeah, that's right.
And Albon was he's going back to consistency. He was within the top 10 on 11 races. I don't think he finished above 5th, but he had a couple 5th place finishes, and like I said, he hung in there for 11 races. getting
Yeah,
points.
stuck in the points, right? Like that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
And I'm curious with this whole Yuki going to a test driver thing and bringing Isaac over with I don't know. I feel like whoever you pair with Verstappen, it's not even going to be in the discussion, right? Because Yuki was destroying everybody that he was, he was the Verstappen of whatever team he was on up until he was Verstappen's teammate. And then he was nothing, nowhere to be found, nowhere to be seen. I don't know if that's just some sort of plague with that team or what, but you've got this young star in Isaac coming over, and I'm super curious how that's going to end up. I don't know.
Yeah, I think Hadjar did an amazing job this year for his rookie season. He's right behind Kimi, in my opinion. So I'm hoping that going to Red Bull doesn't ruin him like it seems to do so many drivers.
Right. Yeah. And it really does seem to ruin him. That's the unfortunate thing. And I'm sure it's hard being Verstappen's teammate, but you would think that there would be something that you'd see out of some of these other guys. I mean, Yuki's a stud, but just fell flat. I don't know.
Yeah, it
Plus,
seems
you've
like
got
since the early years of Checo, nobody's really been able to hop in that second seat and really capitalize.
right, yeah, and plus you've got the shift change of team principal and all that too. So mid season, all that. So it could be different. I guess we'll see what happens. Let's see. So let's talk about some trends and stuff that some stuff we've seen. 2025 didn't just crown a champion. It reminded the paddock and fans that F1 remains unpredictable, obviously with three possible winners at the end. Strategy, composure, steady performance mattered as much as pure pace does. If we see more seasons like this, the sport could become even more compelling for new or longtime followers alike, which is what we just discussed as far as viewership and all that goes. As far as a car development or driver management side of things, do you think what we've seen in 2025 will change how teams approach 2026? Or do you think it'll just be like carry the momentum, adapt to the changes, and just see what happens?
Well, that's a hard one to say just because of the new structure of everything for next year.
Yeah, and there's a lot changing, right?
Yeah. But I don't know. I feel that, again, going back to like the engineers figuring engines out, those teams who are sitting in top five, they know what they're doing. There's no big change there for them other than some aerodynamic stuff.
Yeah.
The power unit itself is the same, even though it will be using more electric.
Right. And then you've got a full power plant change going on at Red Bull, right? They're going
to Ford.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting. You got that powertrain change, rule change, fresh driver, coming off a rookie season. Verstappen's a legend. Obviously, he probably drive anything. That doesn't really matter, but we'll see what comes of all of that. Yeah, I think like you mentioned earlier, having Cadillac in the fold is going to make a big difference too, right? Like,
yes,
I know they're not using their own power plants to start, but they're taking a lot of engineers from places, a lot of behind the scenes stuff that we're not seeing. TWG has a lot of money invested, a lot of partnerships. I think, they hired 2 really good veteran drivers.
Yes, they did.
And guys that have been in the cars still as doing testing and stuff, right? Like, I mean, they're still active. It's not like they've been off the track for 3 years and are coming in cold. They've been active in everything, racing sports cars too on the side. So they've stayed sharp and they have a ton of knowledge, and everyone's at the same disadvantage going into 2026 with new rules, new power regulations, no more DRS. It's going to be interesting. That's for sure.
Yes. And it kind of going back to the power unit thing, it's going to be interesting to see what Audi brings to the table since they are using their own powertrains right out of the gate.
Oh, that's right. I forgot all about that. I don't know why I didn't think about them in that. Probably because I'm distracted by the GM dream of Cadillac. But yeah,
right.
That's true. Yeah, that'll be really interesting. I feel like they're going to be okay. I think they're gonna start out on both feet.
Yeah, Audi's they've got their toes in the water elsewhere with racing, so it's not foreign to them by any means.
Yeah, I mean, I think they've got rally championships every single year and everything else. So I think they'll be all right. I guess looking ahead, let's talk predictions and some stuff. Will McLaren defend both titles, or will Red Bull and Verstappen fight back next year? Personally, my opinion is Red Bull is probably not going to fight back as much as they need to beat McLaren. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd say that I want to say Mercedes is probably going to be their biggest rival going in. I think McLaren's going to walk away with it again.
Yep. That's actually a good segue into my next thing. My next one was how will rival teams respond? Like Mercedes, those in the middle of the pack, will they have a new strategy? But like you said, I think they're going to come in hot. I mean, they've been too cold for too long for Mercedes. I think, as you call him, the Bond villain in Toto will definitely make some changes, and we'll see some stuff coming out of that camp for sure.
Yeah, I know there has been rumors circulating that Mercedes power unit is supposed to be a beast. So we'll see. That's another reason I think McLaren's going to walk away with it, though, is they're keeping those power units, and their engineers again are already super involved with them. They know what to do.
Yep. Yeah. They're just taking a good ship and putting it right back in the water. Like, they don't have to really rebuild much. Change the rule package a little aerodynamics, and which they've probably already been testing for the last year and a half. You know, there's no shortage in money over there for some reason. It's the only racing form in the world I know of that's just like money's no option. Everybody else is fighting just to get their car on the grid every single weekend. Need a sponsorship last minute, all that kind of stuff. And over there, like, oh, well, you guys hit your cap on race 3, so now you got to chill out. It's like, how do you spend so much money with no worries,
Yeah.
Going into midfield and rookies and stuff, you see any new contenders rising? I think, my personal opinion, I guess, before I let you answer that, is I think Isaac with Red Bull will be the one to watch. I don't know if anybody else coming up is really going to be that impressive with a new set of rules, a new car they've never driven, and all that. I don't know. What's your opinion from what you've seen with the trades?
I would like to see Williams continue their incline up the hill. They seem to be doing really good. And again, it goes back to what I said about Sainz, seeing what James Vowell's doing. I'd like to think that they're going to continue that trajectory. I'd also like to see Aston Martin start climbing the ranks, especially that Newey, his designed cars. That's next year, and he's also the team principal now.
Right.
So is Alonso going to get that final year where he's just kicking ass again before he retires? That'd be sweet if he did.
That would be super cool. And literally everybody in the paddock would be happy about that. There's nobody that would be upset about that for a guy that's still doing it,
Absolutely.
I mean, most of these guys don't make it out of their mid-20s still driving, and he's never going away.
No, man, he's forever rookie, man.
What's your boldest prediction for 2026? Which team or driver do you think we'll see a surprise out of? I mean, throw a real wild card out here. What's the biggest thing you would like to see happen? I think I already know what you're going to say, being a Williams guy, but.
Well, yeah. I'm gonna steer away from the gimme on that one. I was actually thinking about this right before we got on. I think it's going to be Hadjar. It's going to be going back to the Verstappen Checo era when they were completely dominant.
That would be cool. That would be cool to see. Norris, Piastri, and Verstappen and Hadjar just battling, like a constructors battle for both cars, championship battle 4 ways. Like, that would be super cool to see.
Yeah, we can all be hopeful. So that's what my fingers are crossed for.
Yeah, absolutely. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, so 2025, it's definitely going to be remembered as one of the most dramatic, closely fought seasons in recent F1 history. It definitely shook things up, reminded us why we like to watch the sport. There's definitely a lot of drama. The human story of it, the human element really is pretty awesome this year. A lot to follow. And this is where social media really actually comes into play in a positive manner, is you got to follow a lot of the drama and predictions and everything, as the race played out, like who's fastest in P1, and who's fastest in P2. And as we're going into the final race, it was pretty awesome. And then, Verstappen locking up the pole position, and then everybody's making predictions, and yeah, just an awesome way for the season to go. Everybody's now going to regroup. We can only wait to see what happens and expect the unpredictable. So I'm going to make a few predictions, and then we'll see. I mean, we kind of talked about yours a little bit, but I definitely think McLaren's going to be in a fight for both titles again. I do think it'll be a tighter battle than 2025 was. Red Bull, and we haven't talked about them yet, but I feel like Ferrari has to figure something out.
Yes.
I don't know what they're going to figure out, but I feel like they have to.
Yeah, they got to work something out.
Yeah, it's bad.
Hamilton, it's like he and his engineer were never on the same page the entire season, and they devoted so much to him. But even Leclerc, he didn't stand out. He had, I think, 2 podiums.
I think so, yeah. Something like that. Yeah, I was going to look that up, and I forgot on the stats for him. But yeah, I want to say a couple podiums is all.
And the best Hamilton got was that sprint win. And other than that, he's been non-existent. And it seemed as the season went on, he just continued the decline.
Right. While you bring that up, I'm going to sidebar real quick. Why do we have to do the sprints? What's the point? Like, I don't understand why they like doing the sprints so much anymore.
Yeah, I don't know either. What's the max points you can win in that? Only 8, right?
I think so.
I don't know if it's a crowd pleaser where it makes fans feel like they're getting a little more bang for their buck. They get to see 2 races in a weekend.
Maybe. Yeah, what? That could be it. That's a good point. Yeah, that could definitely be it. I don't know. It feels strange to me that they put all this talk on sprint races. But back to my original point, though, I think McLaren is going to stay strong. It's my prediction. But I do feel like we're going to see something at Ferrari, whether it's a performance-based thing and they actually start performing, or they make a huge change in personnel over there. One of the two is going to happen. Hamilton's only contracted through next season, right? So something could happen there. Could be a release early. I mean, I feel like something dramatic is going to happen with Ferrari, whether it's just we see him start winning or we just see him shake the whole team up. But something's going to happen.
Yep.
I'm predicting Verstappen to get at least 6 wins. I feel like that's a pretty low ball number, but that's the new rule set and new power strategies and all that. I think he's good for 6. I think at least one midfield team is going to win a race, whether it's Aston Martin, maybe Audi, like we were talking, Alpine stuff.
I'm so skeptical on the Alpine ship right now. They are a hot mess.
It's so bad.
They went all season with their only points getter, old Pierre Gasly, only getting 22.
Yeah.
It seems like since Flavio has taken over that lead role, he has not done them any favors.
Absolutely.
But there are some rumors heating up that old Mr. Christian Horner is going to buy into the team.
I saw some stuff about that, and man, I don't know. I don't know if he can, he obviously dominated Red Bull, but I don't think he alone can change the trajectory of that team.
Yeah, almost just a little too deep a mud to really paddle his way out of, at least for one person.
Right. Let's see what else do I have for. I feel like there's going to be a driver shakeup somewhere in the paddock before midsummer break next year. So I feel like somewhere in the first half of the season, this kind of leans back towards my whole Ferrari thing. I feel like something big is going to happen before that. These are just predictions, you know?
Yeah.
And my last one is I feel like we're going to see some podiums and some breakouts. My thought would be on a younger driver. So I'm going to say Isaac on that one again. I know he's not going to be a rookie this year, but he's still a younger driver, second year, right, in Formula One. So
yeah,
I feel like he's going to get some podiums and multiple, more than one, right? So those are my predictions for 2026. What do you got for some predictions? Bold, conservative, whatever they are, championship picks. What do you think?
I'm thinking we're going to see Aston Martin climb into the top 5 just because of the Adrian Newey engineering that's behind it. We all know his focus entirely this year was pretty much focused on next year's car. And with his performance at Red Bull, I think it's going to show and shine through. And then as far as anything else, I think it'd be cool to see Ollie Behrman be putting up some good numbers. I've liked him his rookie season, which I guess this was technically, but we saw bits of him last year, and he just keeps performing. I want him to continue that and start pushing into like top 5 of the drivers.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's really about all I got for big swings I'd like to see.
Nice. I wish we could. I'll try to remember some notes as the season goes on. We recap next year. We'll see how right or wrong we were on all this. But I don't know why I got just this, between all the rumors of the unhappiness with Hamilton and how much he badmouths, the car and the engineering strategies and stuff. I feel like they're only going to put up with that so much longer. And being in the last year of a contract, the buyout's a lot easier. They might just wash the money and walk away and put somebody else in there. And that'll really suck, honestly, because, Hamilton's a legend, but it sucks seeing him go out that way with all this hype of going into Ferrari like it was going to be this big game changer. And it's kind of gone backwards, honestly. It's been worse.
Yeah, it hasn't been good. I think for both parties, Hamilton and Ferrari. Like, you go back to the disagreement between racer and engineer, and then you see what offhand comments are being made with Hamilton, and then the vice versa, the owner of the team saying his drivers just need to not talk and focus on winning and driving. It's all just passive aggressive.
Yeah,
so what's going on behind the scenes that we're not seeing?
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely a little rough. So I feel like we'll see I feel like there's more of a driver shakeup than anything happening there, but maybe they'll change some principle stuff. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. That team runs a little differently than others, right? So anything could happen, but
we've seen it time and time before, their strategy be completely out of left field, and it, for the most part, doesn't work out for them.
Yeah. Every now and then you'll get one, but you can't try it every weekend and think that's going to get you to the top. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Nice, man. Well, that's about all I had really we had a great season. Quick little recap there. A lot of good stuff. As always, maybe we'll do some more predictions if some more news comes out before the season starts, but a good way to cap it off. This is going to be the last episode of the year too. So whoever's still listening at this point of the show or has listened to all of these, appreciate that as well. Always thanks for coming on and giving your perspective on it. You follow it a lot more closely than I do. You got way more stats than I do on that side of things. I guess I asked you this last year too, but I know times change a lot. Are you going to try to hit any races in 2026?
Yeah, I tried to this last year and it just didn't work out, but gunning for next year.
Nice. You still thinking like trying to Montreal or doing something like that? Or
yeah, I'd love to go to Montreal, but I'd gladly go back to Austin too.
Yeah, Coda's a cool place, man, and they're building all that new stuff there that's supposed to be ready this next season too, right? And they build like they got a Ferris wheel now and like some sort of roller coaster thing, or I don't remember. They're like turning into a whole amusement park there.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I saw some stuff about that.
Yeah, well, they probably are. But the only one I'm not really interested to go to in the U.S. is Vegas, just because I'm not a Vegas fan. That's a lot going on.
Yeah, I've been contemplating that one this next year just because it would be an easier weekend just based on scheduling to try to do. I don't know. I would really like to go to Miami, but I don't think that's going to happen. But the Vegas one's still a possibility, maybe. I don't know. I'm catching some other races. My heart and soul's in IndyCar, right? So I'm going there. We're going to do the whole weekend. We got the Hoosier 100 at Indianapolis Raceway Park, and then we're going to do the Indy 500 weekend, obviously. Same thing, try to be involved in all that. And then beyond that, I've tossed up like 6 different races I'm trying to figure out scheduling on. And it's hard, man. It's hard having like a normal life and catching all these races and spending the money and doing the travel and all that stuff.
Yeah. Hey, we make it work in the end though, buddy.
Yep. Montreal would be a cool one though, but that one falls pretty close to the Indy 500 weekend. In fact, I think it's the same. I think that's the same day as the 500, if I remember right, or a day off. No, it's the same day. They changed the schedule this year, I think, to where it's time-wise it doesn't overlap, but I think it's still the same day. I could be talking out of my ass, though. I'm not 100% sure, but a lot of stats. But anyway, man, I appreciate you coming on the show again. We're definitely going to have you on again as well. And, yeah, man, hope all is well and appreciate it.
Hey, always a pleasure, Alex.
Awesome, man. Take it easy.
Yeah, you too.